So welcome to my review of the fourth and, at the moment, final target novelisation for the Doctor Who new series books, and this is Twice Upon a Time, based on the story by Stephen Moffat, which was obviously the Christmas special at the end of last year, and the novelisation is written by Paul Cornell, who has previously written for Doctor Who in both books and TV stories. He's written Father's Day and the Human Nature Family of Blood two-parter, and he also wrote the book Human Nature, upon which that story was based. So yeah, I can see why they chose this episode to kind of adapt as a novel for his first wave of books. Well, hopefully the first. We haven't actually had any more be announced, but still. Because obviously this was the latest episode to actually air. It's Peter Capaldi's final episode. So it was kind of the episode that's most fresh in people's minds. And obviously it has the first appearance of the first female Doctor in Jodie Whittaker, so it's kind of a big deal. It makes sense that they would adapt this one quite soon. So I'll read the blurb, I won't forget, like I nearly did with the last one. Still reeling from his encounter with the Cybermen, the first Doctor stumbles through the bitter Antarctic wind, resisting the approaching regeneration with all his strength. But as he fights his way through the snowdrifts, he comes across the familiar shape of a blue police box and a mysterious figure who introduces himself as the Doctor. Thrown together at the most vulnerable moments, the two Doctors must discover why the snowflakes are suspended in the sky, where a First World War captain has been lifted from his time stream moments before his death, and who is the mysterious glass woman who knows their true name. This novel is based on the Doctor Who story, which was originally broadcast on 25th of December 2017, featuring the 12th Doctor as played by Peter Capaldi and the First Doctor as played by David Bradley. So that's that. I actually don't have all too much to say about this particular novelisation. Mainly good things, thankfully. I kind of had to really grasp at straws for some negatives. Because obviously Stephen Moffat wrote the script for the episode, but Paul Cornell wrote the novelisation. So again, kind of similar in the way the Christmas Invasion novelisation worked. It's not the original writer of that story doing the novelisation. So I feel like there wasn't as much chance that it could be properly fleshed out. And again, Twice Upon a Time was an hour-long story, so probably everything Stephen Moffat wanted to get in there, he did. So yeah, I might as well just start off with my positives. And it's also 161 pages, so it wasn't too bad to read. This took me longer than the others just because I've been busy with uni and stuff. But I did read like 2/3 of the book yesterday and finished it off. So it was pretty decent size, really. So yeah, we'll start with my positives because that is most of the list. Obviously the closeness to the TV story. Because I feel like that's all really Paul Cornell had to go on. So it is like pretty much word for word accurate. There is a bit of extra dialogue, there are a few lines that have been changed and altered and stuff like that. But they don't really impact the story as a whole, and it doesn't change a hell of a lot. And obviously it kind of goes with a negative, I suppose. If you don't like Twice Upon a Time as the TV story, you're probably not going to enjoy the novelisation. Mainly because it is pretty much that story. It doesn't like flesh out too much more or add anything else that could make you see the story in a different light. But I don't mind Twice Upon a Time. I thought it was quite a nice end to Peter Capaldi as the 12th Doctor. So I quite like that it's fairly good adaptation of that story. We'll save that one to the end because that's my biggest positive. There's a bit of extra dialogue between the two Doctors, lots of extra banter, if you will, which I really enjoyed. There's a lot more nicknames, which I'll get onto again later. The First Doctor is a lot more accepting of the 12th Doctor in this novelisation, actually. He kind of accepts him as the Doctor a lot earlier in the book than he does in the TV story. Which I didn't mind, because it's easy to just get that out of the way, and they can just get on with it then. But there are a few extra lines between them, and the conversation where they're talking about why they don't want to regenerate, just before 12 goes and confronts Rusty in the tower. That gets expanded upon, and we get a lot more about why 12 really doesn't want to regenerate, which I really, really enjoyed. So I loved that. And also, because of that, there's like an extra action scene where the 12th Doctor gets attacked by more Dalek mutants again, and then the First Doctor kind of beats them all off and uses the sonic screwdriver from 12 to scare them off. So it's kind of like the first time he uses the sonic screwdriver, which I don't really mind. So yeah, that was that. Talk about the First Doctor again later. The Captain, or Archie. I will be honest, I didn't really like him in the TV story. I thought it was very shoehorned in, and the only reason that character was in there was to be revealed as a Lethbridge Stewart. That was literally it. You know, his one character trait was he's the Brigadier's grandfather. I didn't mind him, he was okay. I feel like it was a bit forced with Mark Gatiss being in it, because it was Stephen Moffat's last one, but you know. And the fact that Toby Whithouse also was the German soldier that Archie was going to shoot. But you know, what I love about the novel is that there's a bit more of a justification as to why the Captain is a Lethbridge Stewart, and he's a lot more fleshed out. We know a lot more about him, and I feel like the reveal of the Lethbridge Stewart, while it was nice enough in the TV story, I think it works a lot better in a novelisation form, because we see the 12th Doctor's thought processes, and it makes a lot of sense why a Lethbridge Stewart would be involved in what he thought was going to be like his final death. So there's a lot of justification for that, and Archie's a lot more of a fleshed out character, which I really enjoyed. That's probably one of the strongest things that the novel has to do that improves on the TV story. Oh yeah, the added nicknames. Obviously, the 12th Doctor had a lot of nicknames for the First Doctor in Twice Upon a Time anyway, but there's even more in the novelisation. Some I didn't get, some I had to Google, but some I did and I found really, really funny. And when he does mention a nickname, like when he calls him Mary Berry, for instance, there's an extra little bit where the 12th Doctor kind of remembers meeting that person that he's referenced, which I really like. So he was you know, he calls the First Doctor Mary Berry, and then he'll go on to say he remembered his 6th incarnation, having brunch with her or something. And that happens quite a few times throughout the novel, and I just really enjoyed that. A couple of references to classic Doctors meeting these other people, which I really enjoyed. And obviously the First Doctor has no idea who these people are that he's being called, because he hasn't met them yet. So that was cool. Okay, the First Doctor. I feel like his characterisation's a lot better in the novel than it is in the TV story. Because in the novel he actually does the like he always did in his original proper stories when William Hartnell was playing him. And we didn't actually get, I don't think we got a single in Twice Upon a Time. It sounds ridiculous that I'm doing that, but still. But we do get a lot of that in the novel, which I really, really like, because it's a lot more true to his character. And also, he does think about Susan a couple of times. He does mention that he does see her again after the Dalek invasion of Earth, which I quite liked. And he did kind of briefly think, when Bill appeared, that he was going to be talking to Susan again. And he was kind of excited, and then he kind of hides disappointment when he doesn't recognise Bill when she is revealed, which I really liked. So I felt the First Doctor was portrayed a lot more true to his proper character in the novel than in the TV story. Not completely, which I'll get into for the negatives, but still. And also the First Doctor's final words in the episode have been altered from the TV story. I think he was going blah 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 the long way round. And there's an extra line on the end of that. I think he's the long way round, hold on tight or something. But it just feels a lot more nicer as his final words in the novelisation compared to the TV story. So I liked that little change. Done that one. Okay, one thing I really liked, I've got this positive, then one big positive, and then that's it. The epilogue of the novel is the 13th Doctor. Her little bit, she's like, oh, brilliant. Then the TARDIS blows up, throws her out, stuff like that. What I really liked about the epilogue in particular is that it hints way before she presses the button and the TARDIS explodes that something's actually wrong with the TARDIS beforehand, which can shut up all the idiots that are like, oh, female drivers, she pressed one button and the TARDIS blew up. Saying that like every single Doctor has never crashed a TARDIS ever before. Like, come on. So yeah, as like 12 is regenerating and stuff like that, he's like, talking about like steam coming out of the TARDIS, and he kind of notices that something's not right with the TARDIS, but he just like overlooks it because he's regenerating. And then the 13th Doctor is doing the same thing. She's like adjusting to this new form, and then overlooking the fact that something is clearly wrong with the TARDIS even before she presses the button, and it all goes wrong. So I liked that, because that can shut up those idiots that was talking about female drivers and all that nonsense. So that was great. And then my final positive, and my favourite thing that novelisation did, was expanded on what happened to Bill, Heather and Nardole after the Doctor falls. So obviously it is kind of the real Bill in Twice Upon a Time, because she has all her memories and she gets those back. So we learn about what happened to Bill and Heather and their life together after they left the TARDIS. I don't want to spoil exactly what happens to them, but it is really sweet and actually really sad. It gave me quite a few feels in one particular bit about how Bill and Heather kind of spend their time together and maybe live a life together. It's really sweet, really nice, really quite moving. So I loved that. And then we also learn about what happened to Nardole after the Doctor falls. How he like dealt with the Cybermen and how he lived his life and stuff like that. Which I really liked. And don't hate me, I don't like Nardole. I can't stand Nardole. He really annoys me. But I like that we kind of got some closure on him and learned a bit more about what happened to him after the Doctor falls. So that was really nice. But I absolutely loved that we learned about that. That was a really nice surprise, that we kind of got a lot of insight into Bill, Heather and Nardole's life after they left the TARDIS. It also kind of ties up their stories in an even neater bow, which I really enjoyed. But that was definitely my biggest positive, taking away from the novelisation. So yeah, there's a few extra things in there that I really enjoyed, but the crux of it is it's a very solid adaptation of Twice Upon a Time. So take that as you will, really. I think however much you enjoy Twice Upon a Time is how much you'd enjoy the novelisation of it. So yeah, that's all my positives. I only have one kind of thing that I was a bit mixed on, and that's the prologue, which is literally like 2 paragraphs. And it's the same as the prologue to Twice Upon a Time in the actual TV story, where it's like 709 episodes ago, and then it has like clips from the 10th planet and stuff like that. I wasn't a huge fan of it in the TV story. The whole 709 episodes again thing, I felt it was a bit too self-referential and see what we're doing here, which I didn't really enjoy. So that's kind of the reason why I didn't really like it in the novelisation. I think it looks better in the novelisation than it does in the TV story, which is kind of why I'm mixed on it and not just don't like it. So that's the one thing I wasn't too keen on. But again, that's a 1 page out of 161, so nitpicking really. And then the negatives, well, one, it's not really negative for me, but kind of like a general thing. If you don't like Twice Upon a Time, I don't think you're going to enjoy the novelisation, because not much is different, not much has changed. So I do recognise that as a potential negative. If you don't enjoy Twice Upon a Time, it's probably not worth getting a novelisation. And then the one negative I have for the novel is going back to the First Doctor again, and it's the same issue a lot of people had with Twice Upon a Time, and it's the sexism thing. I know it's not really Paul Cornell's fault, and it's not really a thing against the novelisation as it is much against the original script and the TV story. It's just the First Doctor's sexism is really out of place and a bit too much. And it's just kind of annoying. It works in some aspects, but they just went a bit too far with it and used it a bit too much, and that's just not what the First Doctor was really like. So just reading those parts of the book just really took me out of the story again, like it did in the TV story as well. So that's the only thing I don't really like. So as a whole, like, that's a detriment to the story, not the way it's written or anything like that. I think Paul Cornell did a really good job with what he had to do. But yeah, that's it. That's my main negatives for Twice Upon a Time. So obviously, lots and lots and lots of positives overall. I really enjoyed it, but that's because I enjoyed Twice Upon a Time as a whole. So it wasn't really my favourite kind of novelisation that we had compared to the others. But it was good. Although I will say, yeah, I'm really annoyed that the Bill on the cover is a picture of Bill from Thin Ice. She's even got like the headdress and everything on from her costume. That really, really annoys me. Like, just use the characters from the episodes. Still, that's a bug with the cover, not really the main story. But yeah, that's that. And I just wanted to do a quick shout out. Some of the chapter titles are really, really cool. I really enjoyed them. Chapter 15 is called The Hopes and Fears of All the Years. And I love that. I thought that sounded really nice. That's kind of the chapter where the Doctors and the Glass Woman return Archie to his timeline, and then it's revealed that it's the Christmas Armistice and stuff like that. I just thought that was a really nice title. I have a thing for titles. I really like titles. I don't know why. But yeah, just a little shout out. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed Twice Upon a Time as a novelisation. But I will say, if you didn't enjoy the TV story, you're probably not going to enjoy the novelisation. That's kind of my 2 cents about it. But for me, I really enjoyed it. And I thought Paul Cornell did a really good job with it. And I love the extra bit we got with Bill and Heather and a bit of Nardole. And Clara's in it, and I actually love Clara. Hate me if you want. I love Clara. So yeah, I think that's everything. I really enjoyed it, and that's it for the target novelisations of the new Who stories that are currently out. Hopefully we'll get more. Nothing's been announced yet, but I would love, love, love to have more releases coming from new Who stories. But yeah, for now, that's it. That's all of them done. Hopefully it won't be too long until we get some news concerning more. But yeah, that's Twice Upon a Time. Really enjoyed it. Very, very solid entry to the target novelisations. So yeah, thanks for watching.